Hey guys, I got out of work and now I'm heading home to finish making cake balls and maybe make the pizza rolls, but I'm not sure I'll have time. Alright, so welcome everybody to part 2 of cake ball making. We have our cakes all ready and dry. These are a little bit wetter than I wanted them to be. But that might have been because I made too much. But they're tasty anyway. And in case you're wondering, that whole bowl of cake mix, I ate it with a spoon. Alright, so you're going to want to get a big bowl. I'm just going to use this big bowl. Kind of like the one that we used for the batter. So you're going to take the cake out of whatever pan that you put it in to bake. So you're going to take the whole cake. If it comes out in one beautiful piece, good for you. But you're just going to take whatever pieces you can and just put it in the bowl. I feel like I need 2 bowls. It's okay if it comes apart because you don't want it together anyway. It's going to break in 2 minutes anyway. Good stuff. Okay, so here's the fun part. And the very messy part. You're going to take whatever frosting that you choose. You're going to take a scoop or 2. Actually, more than 2. Just scoop about 2 scoops into whatever bowl you have. Huge scoops. This one actually is going to get 3. And you're going to go in with your hands. You got to just get in there. So I'm going to wash my hands first. Alright, so with clean hands, you gotta go in. I'm nervous. You gotta just mush it around. This actually needs more frosting. And you wanna, it's gonna take a while for it to get the consistency you want it, but you want it to be like pasty. Because they're thicker, you'll be able to roll them into balls. See that it's definitely got that thick cake-like mush, very mushy, but it's not wet. Well, it's wet, but it's not like drippy. So don't put too much because you don't want it to be like, you don't want it to ooze. This makes your hands like my whole arm is like dying, and I've only been doing it for like 5 minutes. It's really, you want to like squeeze it, and it's a workout for your arm, trust me. You want it a little bit like Play-Doh, but it's not going to get as thick as Play-Doh, but you want it just so you can roll it into balls. Just get some wax paper or some kind of cookie sheet or something, so that you can make them and put them down before we coat them with chocolate. Now before we roll it into balls, I don't want to wash my hands 6,000 times, so I'm going to get what I need for the next step before I start rolling. It helps a lot if you have a chocolate melter, like they sell them in it's like pots and you put the water in or whatever. I don't have a chocolate melter, so I'm just going to use the old-fashioned 2-pot trick. So here's what you're going to do. The big pot you're going to fill with water, only about halfway, maybe a little bit less than that. And then you're going to put the small pot in it, like that. And dump a little bit more out because that's too much. So I would say only about like a 1/4 full of water. Perfect. So that's when this comes in. We're going to put some chocolate in there and melt. Alright, so once you have that set up, don't turn anything on yet. Just have it set up, and then we roll. So you're going to take the dough, or the whatever it is, the cake mixture, and you're going to just, as simple as Play-Doh, roll it like this until it's a nice round smooth ball, and you're just going to place it down like that, and you're going to do that for, I don't know, however many you make. Don't be shy, make some small ones, you can make big ones. That's about the average size I stay with though, because you don't want a huge one that, you know, can't fit in your mouth. I like them like truffles where you could just pop them in. That's good enough. So you just keep doing that until you have no more cake mix left, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright guys, so I have, I'll show you. I have a lot of these balls made out. I'm not gonna, I finished the first bowl, and I'm not gonna do that bowl because I'm kind of running out of time. I want them to be there at 5 and it's 4. So I'm running a little bit late, and I still haven't made the pizza, so I might not even make the pizza. But I'm only making one because that seems like a good amount for everybody. So I'll just save that for another time when I'm home and I want a snack. Okay, so we have our pot, and we have all these cake balls rolled out. Yum. Alright, so you want to turn on the stove where you're going to be warming all the water. So you want that water to boil, obviously, and you want to unwrap some of these chocolates. I got semi-sweet because it's like dark chocolate, and I think that tastes the best. You can use, and you don't even have to use the baker's chocolate. We've used chocolate chips before, or if you're doing funfetti, you could use white chocolate, any kind of chocolate. So just pop those suckers in there, and I don't know, I'm going to go with four blocks and see how far that gets me. Looking pretty good. It's melting really nicely. Make sure you mix it evenly because you don't want it to burn. Oh god. And make sure your pot isn't like too small like mine is, and because you don't want it to fall into the water and have the water pour in. Because that almost happened. Just make sure that it's nice and smooth and good. Don't wait until the bars actually melt themselves. Move them around because chances are the bottoms of them are already liquidy, you just don't know yet. So just keep mixing until it's a nice little pudding. And then I'm going to put you guys back up here. You guys can see me. Yeah. Alright. So you're going to use 2 spoons for this. Voila. And each individual cake ball, you know, turn the heat down a little. Once everything's melted, keep the heat lower so that it's not overpowering and all that jazz. So we're going to take a ball and just dunk it in. Cover it. This is why you want the cake ball to be thick, because when you put it in the chocolate, you don't want it to fall apart. That's the worst case scenario, because then the whole thing is ruined. And even drizzle some on top there. Scrape off that excess, because you don't want too much chocolate. And, you know, it might sound crazy, but too much chocolate in this case isn't great. Alright, so this has to be done quick. Quick, don't let it sit in there forever, because, you know, that's just wasting your time. Just cover it and get it out. Alright, so they've all been coated pretty goopily, but okay. If you want to, you can add sprinkles or that red and green like sugar topping. I don't have any of that, so I'm just going to put them in the fridge, and then you leave them in the fridge till they get hard, and then they're ready to serve. And that is cake balls. So I have to get ready, so... Alright, I'm going to throw these in the fridge, and I'm going to leave, so see you guys in a minute. So I'm at the Peasants Feast, and I have made a ornament.
Really cool.
I have a Christmas tree, and then have a Maddie Christmas,
I did it.
because I like cute puns, and some snow, and MB 2011. Yeah, Jerry. You're like the bad kid in class who
I'm focusing on your hand, so I see that you're not actually coloring. I didn't mean pantomime coloring.
I lost the red. Hang on a minute. Even your plate looks really good. Look at that. That's like a full palette, artistically designed.
The look on your face was so intense. You're like, Joan is like, I'm starting with you. That's right. I'm calling your bluff.
He's a slam poet. He's slamming. Shazam!
Oh.
Wow.
Oh man.
I think he's tap dancing.
What's
going on?
We should like put little taps on him. Oh, he's reverting. Such a baby noise. Let me know.
Watch out! Oh no! You buck got grabbed.
Here you go, Myrna.
Well, can you tell us? I was like,
Wish, 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 wish.
I got two beautiful shots of the window.
I actually. It was not. I read it is. It's a generally
Hey Jerry,
convention.
got some more paint there. Every year well, yes, we're gonna read The Gift of the Magi
By Henry.
by O. Henry, and
What's his first name?
Oh.
so it's kind of a tradition that
Thank you,
that
Isaiah.
we have that we're gonna read The Gift of the Magi.
Okay, $1.87. That's all. Huh? $1.87. That was all. And 60 cents was in pennies. Pennies saved 1 and 2 at a time by bullying the grocer and the vegetable man and the butcher until her cheeks burned with embarrassment. Della counted it 3 times. Only $1.87. The next day would be Christmas.
Sorry, Mom.
There was clearly nothing to do but flop down on a faded little couch and cry. So Della did just that. Her home was a furnished apartment that rented for $8 per week. It wasn't exactly shabby, but it had a feeling of hardship about it.
In the hallway below were a letter box into which no letter would go, and an electric buzzer that would not ring. On the letterbox was a card that read, Mr. James Dillingham Young. Its owner had called himself this grand name when his job had paid $30 per week. Now, when his income was only $20 per week, the card seemed a bit sad and ragged. But when Mr. James Dillingham Young came home each night, he was called Jim, and greatly hugged by Mrs. James Dillingham Young, already introduced to you as Delta.
Della finished her crying and patted her cheeks with powder. She stood by the window and looked out dully at a gray cat walking on a gray fence in a gray backyard. Tomorrow would be Christmas Day, and she had only $1.87 to spend on a present for Jim. She had been saving every penny she could for months, but $20 a week doesn't go far. Expenses had been greater than she had thought they would be. They always are. Only $1.87 to buy a present for Jim. Her Jim. She had spent many happy hours planning to surprise him with something fine and rare, something worthy of the honor of being owned by Jim.
A tall mirror made from stripes of glass hung on the wall between the windows of the room. Suddenly, Della whirled away from the window and stood before the mirror. Her eyes were shining brightly, but her face had lost its color. She quickly pulled down her hair and let it fall to its full length. There were 2 possessions of the James Dillingham Youngs, of which they were both very proud. One was Jim's gold watch that had belonged to his father and to his grandfather before that. The other was Della's hair. Now Della's beautiful hair fell about her, down below her knees, rippling and shining like a cascade of brown waters. Then she put it up again nervously. She hesitated for a moment and stood still while a tear or two splashed on the worn red carpet.
Then she put on her old brown jacket and her old brown hat. With a whirl of skirts and with the sparkle in her eyes, she fluttered out the door and down the stairs to the street. Where she stopped, the sign read, Madame Sofronie, hair goods of all kinds. Della ran up one flight of stairs and collected herself, panting. Madame was a large, pale woman with a chilly smile.
Will you buy my hair? Asked Della. I buy hair, said Madame. Take your hat off and let's have a look at it. The shining brown hair rippled down. I'll pay you $20 for it, said Madame, lifting the heavy mass of hair with a practiced hand. Give it to me quick, said Della.
The next 2 hours flew by on rosy wings as Della went from store to store searching for Jim's present. She found it at last. It had surely been made for Jim and no one else. There was no other like it in any other stores. It was a platinum watch chain, simple and pure in design. It was even worthy of the watch. As soon as Della saw it, she knew it must be Jim's. She paid $21 for it and then hurried home with the remaining 87 cents. With that chain on his watch, Jim could check the time to any company. As grand as the watch was, he was sometimes shy about looking at it because of the old leather strap he had used to have a chain.
When Della reached home, her excitement fell away a little. She got out her curling irons and went to work repairing the damages made by her generosity and by Madame Sofronie. In 40 minutes, her head was covered with small, close-lying curls that made her look wonderfully like a mischievous schoolboy. She looked at her reflection in the mirror carefully. If Jim doesn't kill me first, she said to herself, he'll say I look like a Coney Island chorus girl. But oh, what could I do with only $1.87?
At 7 o'clock, the coffee was made, and the frying pan was on the back of the stove, hot and ready to cook the chops. Jim was never late. Della folded the watch chain in her hand and sat on the corner of the table near the door. When she heard his step on the stairs, she panicked for just a moment. She had a habit of saying little silent prayers about the simple everyday things, and now she whispered, "Please God, make him think I am still pretty."
The door opened and Jim stepped in. He looked thin and very serious. Poor fellow, he needed a new coat and had no gloves. Jim stopped suddenly inside the door and stared at Della. There was an expression in his eyes that she could not read, and it terrified her. It was not anger, nor surprise, nor disapproval, nor horror, nor any of the things that she had expected. He simply stared at her with that strange expression on his face.
Della wriggled off the table and went to him. "Jim, darling," she cried, "don't look at me that way. I had my hair cut off and it sold it because I couldn't have lived through Christmas without giving you a present. You don't mind, do you? My hair grows awfully fast. Say Merry Christmas, Jim, and let's be happy. You don't know what a nice, beautiful gift I've got for you." Jim looked around the room curiously. "You say your hair is gone?" he said with disbelief. You needn't look for it," said Della. "It's sold and gone, I tell you. It's Christmas Eve. Be good to me. Maybe the hairs of my head were numbered." She went on with a sudden serious sweetness. "But nobody could ever count my love for you. Shall I put the chops on, Jim?"
Jim seemed to wake from his trance, and he put his arms around Della. Then he took a package out of his coat pocket and threw it on the table. "Don't make any mistake about me, Della," he said. "I don't think there's anything in the way of a haircut or a shampoo that could make me love you any less. But if you'll unwrap that package, you'll see why I was so surprised at first." Della's nimble fingers tore at the paper and string. She screamed with joy, but then her smiles quickly changed to tears.
For there lay the combs, the set of hair combs that Della had admired for so long in a Broadway store window. They were beautiful combs, pure tortoiseshell, with jewel rims. just the color to wear in her beautiful vanished hair. They were expensive combs, she knew, and her heart had simply craved them without the slightest hope of ever owning them. And now they were hers. But the hair that would have held them was gone. She hugged them to her, and after a moment she was able to look up with a smile and say, "My hair grows so fast, Jen."
And then Della leaped up and cried, "Oh, oh!" Jim had not seen his beautiful present. She held it out to him eagerly. The dull precious metal seemed to flash with a reflection of her own bright spirits. "Isn't it a dandy, Jim? Hunt it all over town to find it. You'll have to look at your watch 100 times a day now. Give me your watch. I want to see how it looks on it."
Instead of obeying, Jim tumbled down on the couch and put his hands under the back of his head and smiled. "Del," he said, "let's put our Christmas presents away and keep them a while. They're too nice to use just now. I sold the watch to get the money to buy your poems. And now suppose you put the chops on."
The Magi, as you know, were wise men, wonderfully wise men, who brought gifts to the babe in the manger. They invented the art of giving Christmas presents. Because they were wise, the gifts were wise. And here I have told you the story of two foolish children in a tiny apartment who unwisely gave up for each other the greatest treasures of their home. But let it be said that of all those who give gifts, these two were the wisest. Of all who give gifts, those who give as these two did are the wisest. Everywhere they are the wisest. They are the Magi.
The end.
Oh, you.
Christine always
Oh,
cries.
shut up.
Was I late? Jordan Brooker Holiday Bee?
And then there were
Who's
5.
Holiday Bee?
We're all that
The
remains.
second Peasants Feast.
I was late.
We're all that remains.
Yeah.
My cake bowls were a success. There are like only like
Grandma,
10
Is this
left,
important to you?
and
I
it's
was like,
beautiful.
That's Holiday Bee.
They're in the freezer.
The wings.
That's how you do
Jonah.
Peasants
Meanwhile,
Feast.
I said to them, yes, like,
Dave, play a song.
high chair.
It's Matt Bowden. You better subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube. It's Matt Bowden. Yeah. Vlog. Yeah. R. Yeah, it's Matt Bowden.
Hey guys, I'm home and I'm really tired. Oh, I just want to sleep. I have a paper to write for tomorrow, but I'm not going to do it tonight. I have to do it tomorrow when I wake up. So the Peasants Feast was really fun, but I think I got some good shots and stuff. So I'm going to go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Good morning!
It's Matt Bowden.
Look how cool this pool is.
It's Matt Bowden.
Hello.
Subscribe.
This is where the magic happens, right in this kitchen.
What's your name, buddy?
Hey guys, I'm Matt from Long Island.
Vlogs. Vlogs.
There you go.
It's Matt Bowden.
You know Matt is a hardcore YouTuber when he just does not put down his Sony web.
Subscribe.